morning, and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I'm your host, Margie Curry, and today's session is with yoga instructor Becca Impello. We want to remind you that AARP is empowering people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization with more than 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate on their behalf, all of them without regard to politics. Since the pandemic began, AARP Alabama has continued to provide opportunities for people to stay engaged from home. Mindful movement provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. Hi, Becca.
Good morning, Margie. Happy to be here with you today. Here we are, and it feels kind of like fall, doesn't it?
It does feel kind of like fall. Beautiful day, beautiful day. What are we going to be working on today?
Well, Margie, today I thought I would do a practice, a movement practice that really hits the whole body. It'll be one of those times where I'm going to show you how to do stuff using the chair, or you'll have the choice to get down and do some of the things on the ground if you want to. So if you think you'll be using a chair, have a good sturdy chair handy, and you'll have that option to get to the ground only if you want to. And we'll do a good bit of relaxation, breathing work at the end today.
All right, all right. Everyone, please remember before you begin any exercise routine, you should consult with your physician to be sure it's safe to participate. All right, Becca, let's get started.
All right, thanks, Margie. So to start with, just find yourself in a comfortable seated position. So that could be sitting in some kind of chair, or you could be sitting down on the ground if you like to practice yoga and you feel comfortable down on the ground to do some of the stuff that we're going to do seated or on hands and knees. You can be on the ground, and I'll be showing both options. So remember, when you see me kind of going from the chair to the floor, you don't have to do that. I'm just trying to show different choices so everybody can work where they want to work today. All right, so we're going to take a seat. We're going to sit up tall. You can close your eyes right here if you want to, just for these first couple of moments, because closing the eyes or dropping your gaze downward is a good way to help you turn your focus inward so that you can feel how your body's doing today. You can feel how your energy is, and you can connect more directly with your breathing that way. All right, so closing the eyes or gazing down. Maybe place a hand right on your abdomen for a few moments. I want you just to start to take a deep breath in and let your belly expand into your hand. And then as you breathe all the way out, you maybe pull that belly in just a little bit. Again, nice, full, slow breath. Keep this comfortable though, okay? You're not forcing that breath. You're not pushing it. You're not pulling it. You're not doing anything too strenuous. You're just trying to cultivate deeper inhale, more complete exhale. And hopefully we're slowing down our regular breath rhythm by watching it and observing it here for a few rounds. So just about 3 more of these breaths. Breathe into the belly. Exhale all the way out. All right. We'll come back to some specific breathing techniques at the end today to cultivate relaxation and sort of calming effects for our nervous system. But let's loosen up the body here and get things moving. So sit tall and give me some shoulder rolls. And we want these to be slow and big. Like you're trying to trace the biggest circle possible with your shoulders. You can even imagine that if you had a piece of chalk on the ends of your shoulders or a laser pointer that you're drawing out there on those walls to either side of you, the biggest circle possible. Okay. We also want this to feel pretty good. It should be sort of like a massage to your upper back and the base of your neck and the tops of your shoulders. Let's do about 3 more of these big, slow shoulder rolls. Good. And then we'll move it on down. So extend your arms just out beside you. And I want you to bend your elbows, maybe touch the shoulders with your fingers, and then straighten your elbows and flip your hands back so that you stretch the wrist and the forearm a little bit. So I'm reaching my fingers back, kind of extending that wrist crease, and then bend the elbows and touch the shoulders. All right. So let's go back, straight arms, move the arms back in space behind you as far as feels comfortable. And again, reach those fingers back. And then this time as you bend the elbows and touch the shoulders, pick the elbows up any amount. And then drop them back down and extend back, flex those wrists. And then bring the fingers into the shoulders, lift the elbows up. And then down, squeeze back, sit up tall. And then bend the elbows, reach the elbows up. One more time, reach it back. Flex those wrists. And then bring it up. And then let's try and keep the arms up here and extend the arms out to the side. Circle those wrists. Go ahead and let them drop down. Keep circling. Open and close the hands a few times. All right, and then sit tall, arms either at your side or in your lap. Let's tilt the head to one side. We'll loosen up the neck. And then gently roll it forward across the chest, all the way to that other shoulder, and then reverse direction. So just drop it right back towards the chest, over to that other side. So again, go slow. And pay attention to how it feels. I want you just to really be noticing the sensations in your body, right? So there's not a right or wrong sensation, and we each might feel something a little different or in a different place. But I want you to notice, how does it feel? That's a way of getting our brain and body more connected, noticing our physical sensations as we do certain movements. All right, bring that head all the way back up on top. Give it a turn side to side, just looking right and left. All movements that I suggest that you make, you're making them to the degree or the amount that feels right for your body. So you don't have to go into anything that either you're uncertain about or that you feel is causing any pain. All right, now hands up to the heart, sit up a little taller. Let's pull back with a squeeze between those shoulder blades and then push forward and get just a little bit rounded here. All right, so inhale, pull back, lift up, maybe look up. Exhale, push forward, drop the chin down. Pull back, push forward. Two more, pull and push. One more, pull and push. Now we're going to finish our little warm up here seated with a twist. All right, so sit up tall and turn to one side. And you're going to bring that front arm across and just see if you can grab your opposite knee or leg. So if you're sitting on the ground, maybe you're cross-legged or you got legs out in front. So wherever you can reach, just come across a certain amount that feels right. Sit up tall, take a few additional breaths. Feel that twist in your body. See if you can feel it in your rib cage, across your upper back or your waist. And then unwind it and come back to center. And here's a good place to pause and just notice the sensation of that twist in your body. And then up nice and tall and twist the other direction. Again, taking that hand across the front to the opposite knee. The other arm can be anywhere behind you. And you're staying up tall, so purposely lifting up through that chest. Notice the feeling of the twist, the spiral around your torso. And then bring it back to front. All right, so let's go ahead and come up off of our seat. So this is where you're going to have some choices. So if you're down on the ground, and you want to stay down on the ground, you're going to get in hands and knees on the floor. Okay, like so. All right, so this is our floor choice position. Okay, and if you don't want to get down on the floor, then you're taking your hands to the seat of your chair, or it could even be a desktop or a tabletop, whatever height seems to work for you. But we're all making this shape like a tabletop with our arms dropping underneath our shoulders and our thighs dropping underneath our knees. All right, and then we're going to make our spinal warm-up movement, rounding the spine up towards the ceiling, and then flattening the spine and maybe taking it even into an arch. Now, if you're standing up, you're going to want to bend those knees here, and then rounding it up. In yoga, we call this cat and cow. All right, so let's go ahead and put the breathing with this. Exhale as you round it up into cat. And inhale as you drop the belly and take it into that arch. Now keep going. I'm going to drop down to the floor just to show that again. So about 3 more. Cat on the exhale, and that cow shape or arch shape on the inhale. All right, now we're all going to come to flat, okay? And bring your knees or your feet close together. So if you're standing up, you're bringing your feet close together. If you're down on your hands and knees, you're bringing your knees together. Take the right leg back behind you, okay? Bend that knee. All right, so you're just bending that knee easy. And we're going to make some circles with our knee, okay? So we're really working our hip joint here. So make this movement comfortable. Go slow, but sort of draw a circle in the air with your knee, okay? So this is the same if you're standing up. I'm using the chair. I'm going to show that right now. All right, that knee is bent, and we're drawing that circle in the air. Now reverse the direction of your circle. Just go the other way a few times. You may notice that the other leg, the one that you're not moving, is getting a little bit tired. That's normal. It's helping you stabilize. All right, now we're going to take a little pause, put that foot back down or that knee back down. Now, if you're standing up, you can bend your knees a little bit and just stretch back if that's comfortable. If you're down on the floor, you're taking it into a child's pose, same kind of thing. Bend your knees a little more and just stretch back a bit, any amount. Remember, we won't all look the same as we do our poses. All right, let's do that other knee. So come back to your tabletop, on the floor or on the chair. Other leg, you're going to pick up that knee, stretch that leg back and then bend that knee, and then circle it around. Remember, a slow circle. We want to avoid going fast because then we might use other muscles or strain another joint. We want to isolate this and we want to control it and feel the action. All right, you're doing the same thing if you're standing. You're circling that leg out to the side. Now let's reverse direction. Good. And then bring that knee down and stretch back. So we're just bent knees, pushing those hips back, leaving the arms out long. All right, good. Now we're back to tabletop. Now we're going to do a little bit of strengthening. So your hands and knees on the floor or in the chair. Go ahead and take that right leg back. Stretch it back nice and long. And then try to take the left arm up. Now this might be challenging for your balance, okay? So there might be some wobble. If you have to touch the ground with the hand or the toes a few times, that's okay. Keep breathing. 2 more breaths, holding here. And then take that hand and that leg back down. We're going to switch sides. I'm going to pop back down to the floor just to show that here. Left leg back, right arm up. Finding as much steadiness as you can, but know that it's okay if there's wobble. That just means that this is a good challenge for your system, for your balance system. All right, let's do that again on each side. So right leg back, left arm. So it's the opposite arm and leg. Take a few breaths here. See if you can feel your breath. Now we don't want to be sagging into a cow shape here. We want to keep our back nice and flat. All right, down. Let's do the other side. I'm going to come back up to the chair. Left leg, right arm. Good. And then down. Now you can still do the child's pose, sort of the bent knee and stretch back, or we can take this to downward dog. So if you're standing up and using the chair, walk your feet further back and extend out long through the arms and the spine. Your knees can be bent. If you're down on the floor, it's going to look like this, tucking the toes under, lifting the hips up and pushing them back. Now, either position can do a little walking out. Heels and knees can just kind of go back and forth, up and down. All right, one more breath. Now we're going to be stepping forward with the left foot. So you're stepping forward towards your chair or your hands. All right. If you're down on the floor, you can stay down on the floor, or you can walk your hand up to that front knee. It's also possible to drop your back knee if you want to. Now, if you're in the chair, you're looking something like this with the hands on the chair in that lunge, and you have the option also to bring your hands up. Now, it's going to challenge your balance to see what feels safe for you. Keep hands down on the floor or down on the chair if you want to. All right, now we're going to go back to the downward facing dog. So your hands go to the chair or they go to the floor, and then you step it back. It's fine to go to hands and knees on the floor first and then go to downward facing dog. Good, one more breath. And then we'll step that right foot forward. All right, good. So you've got that choice. Once you get there to maybe come off the chair, you could just get light on the chair, and that will make things already a little harder. Or you can bring the hands up or even all the way up. And if you're down, started down on the floor, maybe you stay with those hands on the ground. Could put the back knee down, and then you could come up. All right. Now let's transition to downward facing dog again. So hands either to the chair or the floor, and press those hips back. I'm going to come to hands and knees first here on the ground, and then push my hips up and back into downward dog and take a couple breaths. Good. Now we're going to add a little something in here, and then we're going to do that sequence a couple more times. So you'll just get a chance to practice it. So now we're going to add plank. So you're going to shift your shoulders towards your hands. This is the same if you're on the chair. You just shift your hands your shoulders over your hands are close, and your hands are in the chair. And we firm up those thighs, pull in that belly, strong arms, push, push, push away from the seat of the chair. 2 more breaths. All right, and then push back to a downward facing dog. So you might bend those knees or change the position of the feet. All right, and then let's step that left foot forward. Remember, you can drop that back knee to the ground if you're close to the floor. You can use the chair. You can come all the way up if you want. Maybe arms overhead. So lots of choices. Sometimes that may feel a little overwhelming because there's too many choices. You're not sure what to do. So just pick one that feels right for you today. Maybe a challenging one, maybe not so challenging. Let's come back. Hands down, chair or floor, step back, downward dog. Come into plank, shift forward. So this is what that plank looks like on the chair. Good. And then shift back again. Downward dog. And then the other foot forward. So right foot forward for the lunge. Looks pretty similar if you're down on the ground. You just might have those hands to the floor. You can come up if you want. And then here we go, back to hands down, step back, downward dog. All right, I'm going back to the floor for this next one. Here's the plank pose, shifted into plank. When you're on the floor, you have the choice to put your knees down for plank. So that's something that's sort of in between the plank on the toes and the chair plank. All right, push back, downward dog. Just got one more round through our lunges. Left foot forward. You can bring the knee down to the ground if you want. Maybe bring the hands up. Here we go. Transfer it back, either to the floor or the chair. Step back to downward dog. One more plank. We're almost done. I did promise some relaxation stuff here for the end, so that's coming. And then push back. Step that right foot forward. Come on up if you want. Stay down on the knee if you prefer. Good. And then we're going to come all the way up to standing. So whether you're down on the ground or using the chair, come all the way up. Take your time. Get up on your feet for a moment. All right. Just take a moment to see how you feel. What's the effect of that little sequence that we did? Using those arms, using the legs. May have felt a little strenuous, may have got you warmed up a little bit. All right, but let's raise the arms forward and up. And if you want to clasp the hands at the top, you can. If you want to keep them wide, that's fine as well. And reach up, get nice and tall, and take a little side stretch over to the side. And then up to the top. And then over to the other side. And then up to the top. And arms down and back. Roll those shoulders a little bit. All right. Now, we're going to sit down and stretch our hips a little bit and then do our relaxation breathing. So you can sit in the chair like we did at the beginning. You have the option to sit on the floor. So if you're sitting in the chair, your hip stretch is going to look like this, crossing your ankle to your knee, or if it doesn't go to your knee, you can extend that leg out and cross it a little bit below the knee. Okay. If you're down on the floor, I want you to try sitting with one leg out straight and bring the other leg into a bent position, just inside that thigh, letting that knee drop out. Okay. So those are the two positions. Extending one leg and having the bent knee on one side if you're on the floor, or crossing the ankle to the knee if you're in the chair. All right. And then we sit up tall. That may be all you need to do, or you might sit up tall and lean a little forward. All right, so we don't want to feel much in our low back with this. Just lean forward. You may feel some stretch in both legs if you're sitting on the floor. You may feel it even more in that extended leg. And if you're sitting up in the chair, we want to be mainly feeling it in the bent leg hip. Take a few breaths. And then sit back up if you were leaning forward and switch out your legs. Okay, so I'm going to get back up in the chair for the second round, but just make sure you switch sides. You got that cross leg, maybe ankle to knee. Sit up nice and tall, maybe lean forward. Take a couple breaths for this other hip. All right, good. And then release. So then just choose a comfortable place for your legs. If you're down on the floor, it might be cross-legged is how you want to sit. You could sit with the soles of the feet together or the legs stretched out even. So just any comfortable way of sitting. If you're sitting in your chair, use the back of your chair for some support. Try to have your feet resting on the ground or something underneath your feet. Okay. All right, now our breath work. All right. Again, closing your eyes is optional. It's just a good way to bring your awareness more inward to your breath. You'll be less distracted, okay, by other things. We're going to use the image of a triangle. I call this shape breathing. So we're just simply going to use the shape of a triangle to pattern our breathing. Okay, we're going to be using our inhale is going to be one side of the triangle. Our exhale is the other side. And we might even think about those two sides being roughly equal. Okay, so we're inhaling up the triangle, exhaling down the triangle, and then that part at the bottom of the triangle, okay, that's going to be our pause. Okay, so after we finish exhaling, there's a natural pause in our breath. It may only be really, really short. You may not notice it most of the time. But if we work with it, we can make that pause a little bit longer. Okay? How long? That'll depend on you and what feels comfortable. So your triangle may be skinny with a short little base. Your triangle may be wide with a longer pause at the bottom. But that pause should never feel strenuous. It should never feel like you're straining or aching to take that next breath. Okay, so let's give it a try. Think about your think about your triangle. Inhale, slow, steady slope up. Exhale, slow, steady slope down. And when you finish exhaling, pause any amount of time. Then when you're ready to inhale, inhale up the side of the triangle. Exhale down. And then see how that pause feels. It may be a different length every time. It may get a little longer as you practice it. So we're going to just take these last 2 minutes and do that triangle breathing. When we emphasize that pause, we get that relaxation response in our nervous system. Keep going, keep visualizing your triangle shape. Inhale up the side, exhale all the way out. Make sure you finish that exhale before you linger. You just kind of hang out, you wait, and then you inhale again as you're ready. Exhale long, complete, all the way out, and pause. Inhale again when you're ready. Exhale all the way out. We'll pause. You can use this technique of putting a little pause into your breath anytime you want to just calm yourself down or relax a bit. Help you cope with some stress that might be happening. Let's do one more breath together. Inhaling up the triangle, exhaling down, finding that space, that stillness, that pause. And then just check in. Notice how you feel. You may still have the feeling of the work that we did with our movement in your body. See if you feel your energy, your state sort of mind. See if it feels any calmer, any more settled than maybe it did at the very beginning. We're happy to take any questions that you may have about the yoga practices that I share with you or yoga in general. I'm happy to answer those. You can drop them in the chat anytime. And we sure thank you for participating in these mindful movement sessions with AARP of Alabama. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Oh, I can't hear you, Margie. Margie, I think you might be muted. Oh, I still don't hear you.
Well, it seems as though there's something going on with Margie's sound and we can't unmute her. Folks, we're going to drop a quick video in here for you to see showing our upcoming events. And please remember to complete the survey. Becca, we've got one question waiting for you.
Okay, great. I'll be happy to answer that.
Great. Let's watch the commercial.
Okay. All right, I think there was a question. I saw in the comments a question about IT band stretch. Yeah, what's a good stretch for a tight IT band? So first, I want to just remind you that if you think you have anything significant going on in your body, that might be an injury or a chronic thing going on, it's probably a good idea to get seen about it before you just try things, because who knows what the right thing is depending on what's really going on. So just remember that. But anything that helps to stretch the front of the hip is one way to get sort of at the IT band. The IT band is a really hard structure to stretch. That's why it feels tight for a lot of us. But this lunge that we did, okay, plus if you add a little reach over to the side as you're reaching up, sometimes that will get that IT band or that side of the hip really well. So another thing to do is to stand with your feet crossed, but make sure you got something to hold on to so that you don't lose your balance, and then stretch up and over, and that crossing the leg will tend to get a good stretch down that side of the hip. But the IT band is a tough area to stretch, but the reason is because it needs to be a little bit tight to do its job. So hope that helps.
Great information, Becca. Folks, remember, we're here on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock Central with Mindful Movement, and we hope to see you next time.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.